The Legend of Monkey Island was Sea of Thieves' third major Tall Tale campaign, and saw us go on a quest to rescue Guybrush Threepwood from the Sea of the Damned, and stop the dread pirate LeChuck from conquering our pirate paradise. Each campaign that Rare add always has a unique feel and style of gameplay, differing from previous experiences offered. Now that the adventure's concluded, it's a good time to look back on the campaign and discuss what worked, what didn't work, and if the Legend of Monkey Island lives up to the ranks of Shores of Gold and A Pirate's Life, as a phenomenal story-driven escapade encapsulating the best of what Sea of Thieves has to offer. Let's start with the first tale, the journey to Melee Island. The introductory mission in any campaign is always important, as it establishes the stakes and style of gameplay. Beginning with the positives, I absolutely loved the brand new point and click style of gameplay, and how it was integrated with cutscenes. It challenged me to use the world around me, and think logically about my approach to the puzzles. Moving on, the environments were stunning. The team absolutely smashed it out of the park across all three tales, and the music was incredible, completely immersing me into the world of Monkey Island, especially during that intro sequence.
Back at the start of my very first adventure.
Next up, I thought LeChuck's monologue was really cool, in particular when he shapeshifts into the Pirate Lord. He does this in every tale, and it's a really awesome moment every time. Overall, the tale felt very cohesive, well-rounded and polished, so let's move on to where I personally think the first tale could have been improved. First off, there was a lot of dialogue, which I wouldn't have had an issue with, however I didn't like the fact you spoke with the NPCs like you do in the main world. It didn't feel good pulling up at Melee, ready for a grand adventure and then having to sit through 15 minutes of reading, especially considering the pacing and style of the previous campaign, A Pirate's Life, which many were expecting in this Tall Tale set. In the Scumbar alone, there were 7 NPCs with 4 dialogue options each, and because it's fully voiced, you feel inclined to go through it all, for fear of missing something. That being said, the amount of static dialogue did get reduced as the campaign progressed, so that was a plus. I thought that throughout this tale there wasn't much action either. The battle you have with LeChuck's crew at the end was far too easy. For being a third of the way through the campaign, it didn't feel like enough had happened. Immediately following the battle, the ending also felt relatively abrupt. There was definitely something left to be desired towards the end. I think by far the most annoying part of the tale though were the pieces of 8. My goodness, these were a pain to collect, and really tedious to find. Finally, one thing that was a common theme throughout was that if you missed a Dark Deception, you really don't know what the heck is going on right from the offset, especially when LeChuck starts changing into the Pirate Lord. Rare, if you're watching this, please make that adventure replayable, because it'll make the Legend of Monkey Island make so much more sense to new players. The second tale, The Quest for Guybrush, was an amazing escalation of the Legend of Monkey Island saga, and offered a diverse range of experiences whilst introducing some brand new mechanics to the game. In this tale, the gameplay was new, exciting and intuitive. The static dialogue was much less invasive than the first part, and the environment was phenomenal again, especially the circus. Overall, the cutscene dialogue in this tale was very well written, with there being some fantastic comedic beats, which the pacing of the tale complemented nicely. The music was once again superb. I love Kate Capsize's theme and how it's integrated into the tale set's soundtrack. This tale, much like the first, also felt cohesive and was pretty much bug-free, though again like the first, it struggled slightly with its ending. Personally, I thought it was just a touch anticlimactic. Finally, the new mechanics were amazing. Ziplines felt really good to use, and I really hope they come to the main world. Insult sword fighting was brought in nicely from the Monkey Island games, however I don't think this would fit well within the main Sea of Thieves world. One smaller thing was Stan following the player. Whilst it may be minor, this seems like a major step in pushing what NPCs can do forward. I can't wait to see how this technology is used in the future and how it will develop. The downsides of Tale 2 are thankfully much less than Tale 1. To start, returning back to the living world felt inconsistent. At the end of the journey to Melee Island, Karina teleports you back to your boat, whereas in the quest for Guybrush and the lair of LeChuck, you have to sail back through a portal. I will say as well, by the end of the second tale, Melee Island starts to feel very tiresome. This is with no doubt due to you not only spending 2/3 of the campaign there, but also the fact that it's night. There's something about that that detracts from the overall experience. With regards to the 3 trials, I thought they were all very well made, with something unique in each. But you ended up going around Melee Island 3 times in total, meaning there was a lot of travelling that felt counterintuitive, especially with it being such a long tale. I'm not sure if there was a way around this, but it didn't feel great. Finally, this is more of a personal thing, but it would have been nice to get something more with the Black Pearl. I'm not sure what, but having a few simple lines of dialogue about it being fake didn't feel great after it was quite consciously put into the original announcement trailer and the Tour of Melee Island video. The third tale, The Lair of LeChuck, was by a mile the best tale in this entire set. This tale was the perfect ending, paced beautifully, and Monkey Island had a real Shores of Gold feeling, something that I loved, especially with the reveal at the start of the tale. The environment work was some of the best we've seen in the whole game. I can't express this enough, and the music throughout was once again extraordinary. I also really appreciated the creative use of the Black Pearl. It was a nice nod to a pirate's life, even if the ship is fake, and made up for the somewhat redundant use of the Black Pearl in the quest for Guybrush. The catacombs are some of the best gameplay we've seen in the set. The feeling of being lost was there throughout, and the way this was crafted is ingenious. The Headless Monkey is a true Captains of the Damned moment, and it's great to see the ship that we bought used. After you board it, the lava sequence is phenomenal. Chasing LeChuck down the tunnels and fighting him in the belly of Monkey Island was a truly spectacular moment. I was in awe when this happened. A nice twist was heading back to Melee, upon which the use of the cutscene mechanic we saw in Season 8 fits perfectly. Overall, this is one of the best tall tales in Sea of Thieves. In terms of improvement, I would have liked to explore the entirety of Monkey Island. If you scale the volcano, you can see over, and being exposed to the low-res foliage on the other side breaks the immersion a touch. When we find out Elaine stayed on Melee Island the whole time, the story felt a bit disjointed. In Tale 2, Elaine says in her journals she snuck aboard her honeymoon ship, and considering it's not there in Tale 2, it's presumed she left on it. However, when we speak with Kate on Melee, she says when she made it to Melee, she bumped into Elaine there, and they both sailed the Headless Monkey to Monkey Island. As I say, it feels disjointed. With regards to the fight, it would have been nice to use the front-facing cannons on the Headless Monkey, and the fight could have been longer, especially considering there's an armory on the ship. When you go back to Melee, I will say the pacing feels a touch weird, but I think this was unavoidable. That being said, the sense of intrigue makes up for it. Finally, this is more broad, but I'm not sure I agree with the 3-month release schedule of the whole of The Legend of Monkey Island. I think a 2-week break would have worked much better for the entire set. 1 month felt too long of a gap. The Legend of Monkey Island overall was an interesting campaign to say the least, and completely unexpected. Is Monkey Island a niche game? Yes, 100%. Did I prefer A Pirate's Life as an update? Probably, yes. But the thing is, this is a Monkey Island game in Sea of Thieves. And that's what hit me in the final tale. All along I was comparing the campaign to what came prior, but you can't because it's not the same. The ending had to be Insult Sword fighting LeChuck because it's Monkey Island. A huge Flameheart reveal or a large cast of Sea of Thieves characters wouldn't have fit because it's Monkey Island. If I'm being completely honest, this wasn't my dream crossover, and the storyline might not have added as much to Sea of Thieves lore as many of us would have liked. But with 2023 rapidly coming to a close and one of Sea of Thieves' weakest time periods almost over, it's time to look beyond the horizon. This year wasn't how Rare expected it to play out, but next year we're back to what we know and love. And having spoken to the developers for over an hour at EGX, I'm confident next year will be the biggest year yet for our beloved pirate fantasy, and I can't wait for what's to come, especially now the Sword of Souls has been fully reforged as the Burning Blade. For what it set out to achieve, The Legend of Monkey Island was an absolute success, and I had an amazing time with the latest set of Tall Tales from Rare. It was a thrilling story and another grand adventure I had the pleasure of experiencing, and I can't wait to see what's next as the next chapter of the Sea of Thieves story unfolds. The Ashen Age is only just beginning as Flameheart's return nears ever closer. That does just about bring us to the end of the video though. Thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy, then please do consider leaving a like. It really helps out the channel an absolute ton, and subscribe to stay up to date with all the latest Sea of Thieves news as and when it comes out. But apart from all that, thanks for watching and I'll see you later.